In the ancient book of Ecclesiastes in the Old Testament of the Bible, there's a verse that says, though one may be overpowered, two can defend themselves, but a cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. That's actually scientifically and physically actually correct, that when you bind a cord with 3 strands, the strength is absolutely incredible. And it's something that you see cropping up, particularly in the Bible. You know, the whole concept of Father, Son, and Spirit is a 3-stranded cord, which when you understand how the whole thing ties together, it's not easily broken, and it's something you can hold on to. You get the same thing when the Bible talks about faith, hope, and love. That's 3 strands of a cord, which if you've got the 3 working together, then it won't be quickly broken. The reason I raise this is because I think in the subject of compassion, we're far too often trying to deal with our own needs and the needs of others when actually we've only got 1 string to our bow. Or we might have 2 strings to our bow, which makes us able to defend a principle. But if we're going to be really strong in this area of compassion, we have to have all 3. So let me just give you very quickly what I think those 3 are. It's compassion for others. Remember, Jesus said, love your neighbor. But it's compassion for yourself, because Jesus said, as yourself. So if you don't know how compassion works with you, to quote a phrase, you haven't got a cat in hell's chance of knowing how to bring compassion to another person's life. You'll bring something that's not really compassion, because you have to have compassion for yourself. And how do you have that? Because Jesus said, a new command I give you, that you love one another as I have loved you. So the measure is not human love. The measure is the sacrificial love that God showed to us in Jesus. So compassion for others, compassion for self, and God's compassion for me are the 3 strands that we want you to get tonight. Now, I want you to understand that self-compassion is not self-pity. Self-pity is a very different thing. Self-pity is the woe is me, it's all terrible, this is going to go on forever, there'll never be a solution to that. That's called self-pity. Compassion for self says, this is not good, this hurts, this is difficult. However, this is not the end of the story, because there are other things that are going to be involved in the outworking of this that will help me. So let me give you a couple of brief definitions. Sympathy is the feelings of pity and sorrow for someone else's misfortune. That's sympathy. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of others. That's another step. Compassion, which is a noun, is a feeling of deep sympathy and sorrow for another who is stricken by misfortune, accompanied by a strong desire to alleviate suffering. That's compassion. And it comes from the Latin compassio, which is from another word, compati, which means to suffer with. I like the fact that Jesus in his compassion was not so much suffering for as he was suffering with. And that in the context of our world, God doesn't look from the outside saying, I suffered for you. He comes to the inside and says, I suffer with you. So there's one other verse in the Bible, Lamentations 3. Well, it's 2 verses. Lamentations 3. What a name for a book, Lamentations. Right? Because it's a lament. But this is actually, if this is a lament, it's a good lament. Because it says this, because of the Lord's great love, we are not consumed. I want every one of you to know that if you can grasp this tonight, it might be tough, it might be bad, but you're not consumed because of the Lord's great love. It says, for his compassion never fails. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. And the interesting thing is that word compassions is a Hebrew word that means the womb. So what it literally is saying is that because of his great love, he will not miscarry you if you will rest in his compassion, but he'll bring you to a place of full birth and full life and full restoration. And so our evening's going to cover that tonight, and we hope that you'll learn something about the road to compassion.